Alright folks, how you doing? So at the moment I'm working on a presentation for Unslaved or for David Whitehead's Truth Warrior channel. Be one of the two, I'm not sure exactly which one at the moment. And it's all about Mars and particularly the Cydonia region. But that also interconnects with Missing 411 and the Missing CanAm project by David Paulides. The last time I was on Unslaved, I recommended David Paulides to David Whitehead and to Michael Tazarian. And when I asked David when I was recording on Enslaved, did you get the email I sent you about Dave Paulides when he was talking about how great nature is? I'm like, there's a dark side to nature as well, mate. Which seemed to take him aback. And obviously he hasn't read that email, or if he has, he hasn't remembered it or taken it very seriously. But, I do take this stuff seriously, so I'm going to read from a passage in a book called Mars and the Lost Planet Man by a man called Lou Baldwin, which might shed some light onto the whole Missing 411 phenomena and how and why people go missing in the wilderness and in the woods. And there'll be another chapter I'll read later on from the book. But let's just start with this one. So this is a chapter called Bigfoot on page 72. Martians that were sent to other planets and moons in the SAR system were tailored to coincide with the destination and the natives. Martians were used on projects that differed from what they did on Earth. Some Martians tended to be solitary and prefer to work alone when given the choice. Their demeanor and physiology favored them being placed into harsh and cold places on distant planets and moons, working as scouts and combatants for the serpents. Some Martians understood their missions. Most didn't know that they were working for the serpents, though through surrogate middlemen beings, and inadvertently collected information on other Martians along with the beings they infiltrated for the coverts secretly aligned with serpents. Martians are exceptional survivalists and able to subsist on assorted and meager diets for long periods, and under most weather conditions, preferably cold. A branch of modern Martians are known as Yetis, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, and Abominable by unsuspecting modern humans who believe such beasts to be myths, and if not myths, then exotic and extremely elusive creatures of Earth. Martian creatures of the Bigfoot variety are frequently spotted in isolated places on Earth by hunters and campers who mistakenly believe that they have stumbled on the strange and reclusive creatures by accident. Accidental encounters with the creatures are rare if they exist at all. Sasquatch-type creatures have pre-qualified the mortal and set up the encounter with specific humans in mind for the sole purpose and usage of Sasquatch. Yetis make use of the humans they search out, summoning them to areas where they will extract human byproducts and other materials from humans or animals that they need while on Earth, and for the return trip back from where they came. Yetis are more technologically advanced than their genetically equivalent humans. Secretions from various human organs are extracted by Yetis, who use the bile and other biological material, quote-unquote, borrowed from their close cousins, humans that are adapted to Earth conditions. Yeti supplements specific organic requirements homogenized to earthly conditions by the human body to metabolize food ingestion during their brief expeditions on Earth. Human yogurt, yum. Human fluids allows a Yeti to acclimate rapidly to the regional environment it is placed into or that it enters into on its own accord. Planets and moons have unique gravitational qualities, pressures, and climates which impair and challenge humanoid bodies that are not internally equipped for all the rapid changes and conditions they will encounter. Spacesuits help for those with advanced spacesuits, but not all Yeti creatures use spacesuits. Bigfoot creatures that do use spacesuits use suits that are crafted to look like large, hairy beasts, which sometimes hides a large hairy beast inside of them, but not always. Sasquatches easily acclimate to whatever environment they find themselves in by tapping into the local pool of inhabitants that share similar biological functions. On Earth, that would be humans and other primates. Most of the time, humans and animals are not killed or damaged by the Martian creatures, only tapped for biological ingredients and then turned loose. Abominable beings come and go from planets and moons using highly advanced spaceships, UFOs, and have similar abduction capabilities over humans to do other higher or lower extraterrestrial beings who are trafficking goods and services in a local star system and beyond. Bigfoots have taken humans and animals off planet for various and unknown reasons, and then returned to humans unharmed most of the time, back to their place of origin. Nefarious Bigfoots have taken people and not returned them at the direction of coverts from Earth, and transplanted the humans on other planets and moons for use by higher and lower echelon entities. It is but one of many types of slave trading operations in this star system that is run independently and illegally by multiple renegade tribes, sometimes sanctioned or done under contract at the discretion of the gods or the serpents. Entering and leaving planets and moons is risky for most types of beings, regardless of level of technological sophistication they might possess, and casualties happen more often than not. Hostilities between higher and lower beings is a constant danger to most itinerant beings and their hostages or companions. On numerous occasions, humans have been victims in the mayhem of engagement and exchange of fire, while in the possession of the beings that have abducted them. Such fatalities result in the disappearance of thousands of humans and other beings, creatures and animals each year from the planet and other planets and moons. Reminds you of the movie Predators, really, doesn't it? Martians are one of many foreign species allowed to mingle with the human race and become part of the human race. Renegade alien beings were permitted to slip through Earth's defences and claim Earth as a temporary hovel during ancient times and present times as well. Serpents used the intruders, who were sometimes clueless that they were being used, and wove them into the fabric of humanity as part of the architecture for a future multiracial planet, the one that exists now, and for future times when humans will breach from Earth and enter space in ever larger numbers. Future space exploring humans will face encounters that will stretch their minds and souls to breathtaking heights and delights, and to breaking points of fear and despair of the crazy beings and creature things that are out there, loose and lurking everywhere in space. Humans will learn that childhood myths, fables and legends of the strange, bizarre and creepy are words without meaning. In other words, myths, fairies, fables, legends are real and not mythical at all. Renegades were brought to the star system by messengers of the overseers and placed onto various planets and moons. Renegades, the displaced beings from star systems within the Milky Way, are exiled beings from their home planets due to crimes and infractions against their own people. Renegades come from technologically advanced planets and cultures and retained portions of their former superior technological abilities. Renegade societies on Earth have flourished covertly because of their high-tech advantages over human and Martian population. Renegades enslaved humans and Martians, bred with them, and farmed them out to other renegades to increase inhabitants for labour, food cultivation, slave trade, and to raise armies, as well as their genetic properties. Renegades used flying machines, aircraft, and other more advanced ships, UFOs, that allowed them access to other planets, moons, and space cities to conduct their affairs within their star system, privileges often allowed them by the gods. Renegades injected mischief and war wherever they infest and accumulate. Occasionally, renegades are disciplined or destroyed by serpents and other reptilian beings that are garrisoned throughout the star system for security reasons. Some renegades are of the reptilian and serpent breeds of entities that have succumbed to corruption and were exiled by their own races and later captured and quarantined to this star system and placed in servitude to serpents, who sometimes sublet them to dark forces and other low-end creepy creatures. And that's the end of the chapter. So yeah, this is what I was trying to get through to David Whitehead. He's thinking about, nature and all this. Nature's wonderful and all this. Well, yeah, nature is wonderful, but realize that even nature, if you go into isolated and remote spots in the cold, and I was really trying to hammer this point home to him because he lives in Canada. In fact, the reason why I emailed him in the first place was I heard him saying on one of the Unslaved podcasts that he likes to hike into nature. So the reason why I emailed him to begin with was essentially to say to David, danger Will Robinson, danger Will Robinson. If you're going into the Canadian wilderness, go prepared, and the best way to prepare is to familiarize yourself with the work of Dave Paulides. Because if he's going into the remote Canadian wilderness on hikes and things like that, realize that there's things like this out there.